Hey everyone, thanks for joining us today. We'll get started in a couple of minutes, so just hang tight. Hello everyone, I hope that you are doing well. It's a unique situation for everyone right now, and I'm guessing many of you are working from home and dealing with all the challenges that come with that. So we really appreciate you taking the time to join our webinar today. Today's topic is an important one to all advertisers, but it's one we usually don't hear too much about, so I'm pretty excited to throw it over to our network quality veteran, Yelena Petrovic. But before I throw it over to Yelena, let me quickly go over the webinar format. So Yelena will be presenting for a little over 20 minutes. As you have them, you can send any questions through the GoToWebinar software. If we don't answer your question as part of the webinar, or if it's more account specific, then we'll get back to you after the session. There will also be a post-webinar survey that should be launched within the GoToWebinar interface. We want these webinars to be as helpful as possible for you, and we will be very grateful for your feedback. That will help make future webinars even better, and it should only take you a couple of minutes. So without further ado, here is Yelena.
Hello, everyone. My name is Yelena Petrovic, and I'm the Senior Network Quality Manager here at CJ. I've been in the CJ Network Quality Department, or as we call it, NQ, for over 13 years now. I'm also the proud mother of the amazing 5-year-old girl seen here in the picture patrolling the streets. As you can tell, when I'm not protecting the CJ Network, we fight crime in our neighborhood. I'll start off with a brief introduction to our network quality department and the role we play in the CJ network. I'll describe how we identify and prevent issues on a network level and how that benefits both advertisers and publishers. Next, I'll cover one of the most confusing topics, working with sub-affiliate networks. Then I'll review the importance of program terms and how they can empower us to resolve issues efficiently. I'll also provide a walkthrough for reporting issues to CJ for investigations. And finally, I'll wrap up with a few takeaways on how network quality benefits you directly. Network quality is at the core of our network. We have a dedicated team of individuals who utilize a combination of both technology and hands-on experience. Our mandate is to ensure that every action takes into account all parties involved. We determine what is best for the advertisers, the publishers, the users, as well as CJ on a whole before we take any action. This approach has made CJNQ the industry standard for decades. So what's at stake? By identifying and addressing fraud, you can save money you would otherwise lose to bad actors and use it to invest in program growth. More importantly, instead of wasting time dealing with compliance issues, you can spend your valuable time building relationship. At the end of the day, the most important thing is protecting your brand and ours. and having individuals who can address issues in a way which protects brand is the key to that protection. Let's talk about identifying and preventing issues. Let's start with some key takeaways. CJ provides advertisers with a tool that they can use to identify potential concerns. Network quality is an essential resource in combating fraud, but nobody knows your program like you do. So how do you read a transaction report? Whether you have it set to display the previous week or the previous month, every transaction should have a referring URL. Or, in other words, where the user actually interacted with an ad and click on your ad. Now, if the referring URL field is blank, that doesn't necessarily mean that the transaction is invalid. Is the original location of the website that is HTTP or HTTPS? Did the click originate from a browser extension, social media, mobile app? Due to the nature of the technology, many platforms do not allow this information to be passed. On the other end of the spectrum, what if the referring URL field shows an advertiser's landing page? Much like a blank referring URLs, this isn't necessarily an invalid transaction. Software such as a browser extension will often present like this. However, this can also be a red flag for publishers using a prohibited third party or some other undisclosed promotional method. For this reason, if you see this occur and you have questions regarding publishers' promotional methods, you should submit a ticket so the NQ can investigate. With our Insights reporting tool, you can run custom reports to spot anything out of the ordinary. Account managers will run this tool daily, weekly, or monthly in order to track partner publishers and identify top performers. One key indicator in determining performance is conversion rate. A high volume of clicks with a little to no conversions is concerning. But again, this doesn't automatically mean a publisher is doing anything wrong. For instance, bots may be hitting a link through no fault of the publisher. When this occurs, we are able to reverse the clicks with minimal impact to the relationship between advertiser and publisher. We will notify the publisher so that they can block the associated IPs and prevent additional clicks. That said, a low conversion rate is still a red flag and should be reported to network quality for investigation. A publisher could be forcing clicks or dropping multiple cookies on a single click, or it could just be an optimization opportunity. Low conversion rate, on the other hand, will impact your EPC as well. In the same way, you use a publisher's EPC to determine if they convert well, publisher can use your EPC to determine how users will respond. On the other end of the spectrum, we have high conversion rates. On the surface, a high conversion rate sounds good, but how is the publisher promoting your brand? Are they incentivizing users? Are they self-submitting? Perhaps they're using an undisclosed or non-compliant third party. Once network quality confirms the situation with the publisher, this newly established line of communication can be leveraged to ensure the best promotion of your brand. Up next, working with sub-affiliate networks. This has been a topic for the past year, so this is why we came up with some top tips. First and foremost, what is a sub-affiliate network? This is a big topic, so we highly recommend searching the support center for related documents. In a nutshell, a sub-affiliate network is an account with publishers on their own. With a standard publisher, we or CJ have a direct relationship to the publisher. With a sub-affiliate network, publisher has the relationship with the sub-affiliate. in this case referred to as the partner. Like most things in life, there are pros and cons to working with subaffiliate networks. Before working with any subaffiliate network, we recommend asking them for a whitelist. You don't have to limit the number of partners you want to work with. You can ask and say, hey, can you show me which of your partners would be a good match for my brand? After your initial launch, you can ask the subaffiliate network to submit any new partners for approval before they start promoting your brand. You can also ask them to even restrict new partners altogether until you are confident in the results. If you do choose to work with subaffiliates, it's important to know who you are working with. Did the partner suddenly jump in the rank? It's important to understand their promotional methods. And if you don't, feel free to request a network quality investigation to confirm that they are working within our PSA and your program terms. Which lead us into program terms. So why do program terms matter? Program terms provide clear guidelines for your publishers to follow. Clearly defined program terms enable a network quality to swiftly enforce compliance and protect your brand. By removing ambiguity surrounding the promotions of your brand, we reduce friction when commission reversals or removals from your programs are necessary. It's important that your program terms are both clear and concise. Be explicit in how you expect publishers to treat your brand. Also, if you are granting a specific publisher specific promotional rights, like trademark rights, send them the new custom program terms. A lack of details opens the door for fraudulent activity, and it also limits the enforceable action network quality can take. My team is more than happy to provide a consultation at any time. Here is an example of terms with a healthy amount of detail. Once again, the more detailed the policy, the easier it is for both your teams and mine to enforce compliance. This is how we resolve issues quickly. Now, keep in mind, nobody's coming here to read a novel. If it takes a half an hour to scroll through your standard terms, then we have a problem. Okay, when talking about lead programs, prevention is the name of the game. Here are some pro tips on preventing bad actors from invading your lead programs. Lead form validation is the gold standard. If you only have limited or no validation, create detailed policies which tell publishers exactly what they need to know in order to get paid for leads. Require information that is not easily spoofed. For example, if you are an insurance company, you will want to require more than just the year, make, and model of a vehicle. You will want something that is unique to the user, such as a VIN number. Once again, create custom terms for your incentive publishers. And remember, the source of fraudulent activity in these situations is often the users, not the publishers. It's the publishers whom are usually getting defrauded in the form of extra points or extra $5. So they will want to work with you to identify bad actors. If needed, put an explicit cap on the numbers of leads one user can generate. Create longer custom life cycles if you require additional time to validate leads. And here's the bonus pro tip. Set yourself reminders to review leads on a recurring basis and then extend the transaction and extra pay cycle or correct transactions when needed. Next up in prevention, correction and extension. We highly recommend you implement a correction process to automatically validate orders on your end. This is primarily for advertisers who compensate for leads. As previously noted, if you're using a standard life cycle, you have this option to extend transaction and extra payment cycle if you need that additional time for review. And please note, once publishers have received payments, CJ cannot recoup those funds. Remediation. This topic is at the core of what NQ does. Although we do take on the role of a digital bouncer when required, our main role is actually to be educator with a focus on conflict resolution. It's important to note that not all violations are malicious. Through a combination of training and experience, my team can identify when a situation requires a teacher rather than a cop. Our goal is to set both advertisers and publishers for success. Earlier, we talked about the importance of conversion rates and how they impact EPC. One way we can rehabilitate an EPC impacted by fraud is via click reversals. If my team identifies invalid or fraudulent clicks, we can address those clicks and mitigate the damage to your EPC. Reverse commissions. Again, earlier we talked about the importance of validating transactions on your end. Due to privacy concerns, CJ does not receive transactional information. This protects the user's personal information and maintains consumer confidence in our platform. However, we understand this requires flexibility on our part. When invalid transactions are reported in a timely manner, we can reverse commissions which occurred as a result of fraud, or an action which violates either the publisher service agreement or your program terms. Now, if a publisher violates your program terms but not the publisher service agreement, they may continue to work with other CJ advertisers. However, if they violate CJ Publisher Service Agreement, we will remove them from the network and take steps to prevent them from rejoining. All advertisers benefit from this process. If we determine a publisher is eligible to remain in the network after a breach in program terms, that publisher will make it a point to abide by the terms of their remaining advertisers. On the other hand, if we determine that a violation of the publisher service agreement has occurred, then the bad actor will be removed from the network entirely, saving other advertisers from the need to be directly impacted in order to benefit from our action. Another thing to keep in mind is that NQ is a proactive resource as well as a reactive one. We have numerous reports which we run in order to identify issues before they are reported to us. In most cases, we address those issues before they are able to have a large impact. We also conduct manual account reviews to ensure that all publishers satisfy CJ standards prior to earning a payout. We continue these manual reviews until they have established themselves within the network. Even after this point, all publishers who generate a large payout receive a manual review. This occurs every month. Now, a critical topic, reporting issues for investigation. When reporting a situation to network quality, be sure to provide plenty of detail. If we need to ask for additional details, this will only delay resolution time. Along these lines, if we do reach back out for additional details, any delays in your response will create a delay in resolving the situation. You should expect a response from network quality with 24 to 48 hours. You'll want to access the publisher detail page and click Report Publisher. Enter a description of the issue and include as many examples as possible. Be sure to save screenshots when you spot a violation. And if you are able to provide evidence of the violation, we can address it directly. Network quality relies on evidence for reference when addressing violations. This is especially important when reporting search violations. If you do not provide screenshots for evidence and we are unable to replicate results, our ability to respond is restricted. Think of NQ as detectives. We require to be just as well as swift. And moving on how network quality benefits you. We looked at the data for clients migrating to CJ, meaning advertisers with existing affiliate marketing program through another network transitioning their program over to CJ. Of course, a big part of the process is moving over their publishers and ensuring a seamless transition for their top revenue generators. We identify publishers with pre-existing accounts, and about 9% of the time, so almost 1 out of every 10 publishers, my team already removed from the network for compliance issues. Remember, we don't take removing publishers lightly, so if we remove them from the network, it's for a good reason. Now, the prospect of losing almost 10% of their revenue-generating publishers during immigration can make any advertisers a little bit nervous. But consistently, time and again, we have found that those programs do not suffer. Having those publishers come out of their program during migrations opens up an opportunity for the other publishers. In fact, those bad actors were often stealing traffic from good publishers. They may have been persistently trademark bidding and taking traffic away from organic search results, or other publishers who were presenting more effective, robust, and accurate message to users. And when the money is opened up, those hurdles for your good publishers are removed, and it actually means that you can take that money and invest it in the good partners to grow your program faster. In the case of an aggregated group of advertisers and those publishers that would be removed from their respective programs, on average, that made up about 5% of the total commissions their program was paying out. That money that was going to publishers who are actively limiting or even hurting the advertiser's brand. So that 5% investment in the program was opened up to spend with other partners and to really invest in those opportunities that will grow and reach the right audiences for those advertisers. Finally, let's close out with a case study. Here is one of the advertisers that migrated their program to CJ from another network. In this specific case, we're looking at a very well-known retailer with an international presence and a very well-established program that was generating over $30 million in annual sales. They already had 285 revenue active publishers in their program, meaning those publishers weren't just generating clicks, they actually generated sales. When we matched those publishers up against identifiers of existing CJ accounts, we found that 28 of them had already been removed from CJ due to violations. One of them was a top 20 performer in that advertiser's program in the previous network. That, of course, was alarming to the advertiser. This advertiser realized that this probably meant that it was a bad volume that they should have been doing something else with, but they were also worried. They wanted to make sure that their program would be successful after the move. The affiliate manager was tasked with making sure that the migration was successful, which means no significant loss of revenue. In the end, it was a good news across the board. They experienced no loss of revenue after completing the migration to CJ, meaning of those 28 publishers who were removed from the program, all of the revenue that they had been generated moved over to other publishers. In fact, those other publishers experienced a lift since there was no longer good traffic lost to those bad actors. The program itself also experienced a conversion rate bump. The improved traffic quality resulted in improvement of 51% versus what that advertiser was seeing prior migrating program to CJ. Over their first 6 months with CJ, the advertiser grew their revenue 24%. Now, there are a lot of factors involved, but a big one was the removal of a large amount of non-compliant publishers. We were able to ensure that all of the investment in their affiliate program was going to partners that could really drive compliant traffic, reach the right audience, publishers who are aligned with the advertiser goals. We were able to ensure that all of the investment in their affiliate program was going to partners that could really drive compliant traffic, reach the right audience, and publishers who are aligned with the advertisers' goals.
Thank you so much, Yelena. That was a great run through of network quality. I especially like those last two studies because it gives such a unique perspective. NQ is kind of abstract thing that everyone agrees is important, but it's hard to say how important it is. But by looking at it that way, we can put a true dollar value on the importance of investing in network quality. So that's a really unique perspective there. And before we finish the webinar, we'll leave time for a couple of questions. And to anyone who submitted, thank you. Questions that aren't answered here, you'll receive a response via email afterwards, so everyone will get their questions answered. So for the first question here, Yelena, can you please quickly go over how to report a publisher again?
Each publisher's detail page will have report publisher link that when you click on it, it will open up a field where you can add all the details and information regarding the fraud issues that you spotted on your end. More information you provide us with, faster we can confirm fraud on our end and resolve your issues.
So just to emphasize that, you don't need to log into the support center or anything like that. Just click on the publisher anywhere within the interface and you'll see a report publisher button in the top left corner of the profile. So this is super quick to do while you're reviewing your reporting. No need to log in anywhere. You just click that button and you can report them. And no excuses not to do so immediately. Okay, next question here. We don't have time to manually review our transactions every week. What do we do?
We're not asking you to go ahead and review these transactions daily. If you can, that would be great. If you have automated way to do it, that's even better. But if you do not have time to review all the transactions by the locking date, which is 10th of each month, we do encourage you to extend transactions for an additional month so you can review them before they locked or close.
Great. So the key there is to review transactions before they lock, which for most advertisers on the standard locking cycle will be the 10th of every month. And if you need more time, you can get more time, but you need to extend your transactions. And again, you need to remember to do that before they lock. I also wanted to add that reviewing your transactions doesn't need to be very time consuming. It should be pretty quick. You're just looking for anomalies, order IDs that doesn't match your internal order IDs, or unusually high sale amount, or unknown publishers, or look for very high or low conversion rates. Any anomalies like that are things you want to look into, and it also gets easier with time. So the more often you review your program, the more familiar you are with program, and that of course has benefits outside of network quality, but you'll also notice those anomalies a lot sooner and quicker. So here is a question that I've definitely heard before, and I'm sure a lot of advertisers are wondering about. I recently found a publisher bidding on our branded terms. Why does it take 7 days to kick them out of the program?
If you confirm fraud or non-compliant behavior in your program, that is correct. You cannot expire publishers on your end, but if you submit a ticket using that report publisher link, we can expire a publisher from your program effective midnight that day, or if we confirm that they were in violation of our publisher service agreement, we can remove them from the network effective immediately.
Yeah, this is definitely one of those instances that show why it's important to always report issues like this to network quality, because they can take swift action that advertisers can't do on their own. So if you're unsure, or if you see anything like this, always report it to NQ. It's better to report one time too many than not enough. So let's do one final question here. There is a publisher bidding on our terms, but they're not in our program. Can you help us out?
If the publisher you are not affiliated with is using your trademark to bid in Google or Bing search or any search engine, Unfortunately, there is nothing we can do unless they are using your trademark in their ad copy. Also, if they're using your trademark on their site and you did not approve that, you can definitely let us know and we'll reach out to that publisher asking them to stop using your trademark.
Okay, so again here, the key is to report issues to NQ. Even if they're not joined to your program, it's still worth giving NQ a heads up. They might not have as much leverage, but at least way you'll know if there's anything they can do to help you out. So again, better to report one issue is too many than not reporting an issue and having it continuously go on. And it also hurts other advertisers in the network. So network quality is a collective effort. And we hope today's webinar helped you learn a thing or two. That will be the last question for today. So we thank you all for attending. As mentioned at the beginning, you'll receive a quick survey and we really appreciate your feedback. Any feedback you give will help us make these webinars even better in the future and thereby help you grow your affiliate programs. So thanks again and have a great day, everyone.